hot oil. I find that always works. Or you could even just put a chainsaw directly into the wound, and even turn it on if you're an overachiever. So this next one is an ad for the game Episode. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. People on YouTube, play it a lot or whatever. So the ad says, "Why is he eating my face? Do I go with the flow, or is this real life?" This one's clear that it's, advertising a game, but I just thought it was funny because if someone was kissing you like this in real life, yeah, they are not a human. They are a zombie. I don't care how bad of a kisser someone is. There's just no, if you kiss like this is gonna sound harsh, but stop it. I also really like how the only two options are go with the flow or is this real life. If someone were kissing me like this, there is absolutely no way in the high heavens that it would ever go with the flow, okay? But I'm also just not gonna stand there letting it happen wondering, is this real life? Like, I can feel his drool dripping down my chin onto my nice blouse from Zara. Yes, this is real life, hunty. There needs to be a third option, like call the police because this man might be on bath salts considering he tried to eat off my whole face like a snake. Now this one just says, "Are you aware about this? You better not be." See, now the only thing that I can imagine this would be advertising is like a knockoff version of Ratatouille that was filmed in someone's basement, but they couldn't find a rat. However, they do live near a swamp, and so they just took a little froggy and held it hostage and made it open a sushi restaurant. And this wasn't even the frog's dream. He wanted to be a hip-hop dancer, because he's, he's a frog. He's very good at hopping. He also probably doesn't want to be making sushi. I mean, those are his neighbors. It's like one day he goes out and says to Mr. Flounder, "Oh, hey Joe, how's the wife and guppies?" And then the next day he's stuffing him inside a seaweed wrap after he just gutted him. It's dark. So I can only assume that this is a message to all of his land and sea friends, because he is an amphibian, a frog. And I want to say his name looks probably like Jimmy John. That Jimmy John has been kidnapped to remake the underrated Pixar movie Ratatouille. That's the only explanation. So this one says the simplest way to back up your computer, and then it shows an image of tea just being poured directly onto the laptop. My interpretation of this is probably like companies trying to relate to the youth, am I right? Like spilling tea on your laptop, snatching someone's wig with your iPhone, weave, if you will. But I'm actually filing a formal complaint with the Apple Store because this image, although it's like, yeah, companies trying to appeal to the youth, I thought, it's probably true because it's on the internet. So I brought the image to the Apple Store and I asked the employee, his name was Jared. Okay, Jared, if you're watching this, I want you to know the stress you put me through. So, Jared, right? I go up to him and I very sincerely ask, "So, I really need to back up my laptop. Is this the best way to back up my laptop?" And I show him the image of spilling tea. And then he goes,
Yeah, sure it is.
He says it exactly like that, right? And so then I figure, amazing. I have so many tea bags at home. I'm gonna go home, make a bunch of tea, and just spill it all over my laptop. And it should be, operating good as new. So then I go home, I fill up my watering can with tea, and I spill it all over my laptop. And to my absolute surprise, my laptop starts malfunctioning. I call Jared and I'm like, "Jared, what the heck? Why would you do this to me?" This one says, "Hysterical cake fails, you'll have to see to believe." So I'm not gonna lie. I feel that the essence of these images emit something that is almost, I want to say, satanic. Especially on the left, I cannot believe that someone would do that. Let alone, bring this entity onto this earth, but then take a picture of it and then share it on the internet for everyone to see and be spread like a curse. Like, Slender Man is no longer the scariest folklore, on the internet, because this image of Justin Bieber's face made out of meat could simply kill more people than Slender Man could in a million lifetimes. Slender Man, if you're watching this, I'm just kidding, buddy. It's just banter, Call me back. But honestly, if this were a birthday cake, I feel like it would start to levitate off the table as people were singing happy birthday. Do you know what I mean? It just gives off those types of vibes. And the mom would be like, "Justin, what are you doing?" And then he wouldn't answer because he's made of meat. But then again, I'm also made of meat, and I talk a lot. This next one says, "Your next family." And it seems to be rather ominous to me, because it seems like a threat. Like they're gonna turn my family into chicken wings. Also, I don't know why I thought of this, but imagine being an orphan and then the lady coming in and being like, "Honey, I know that it's been a tough journey, but we finally have found you a new family. Here they are, your next family." And then the doors open and it's just a plate of chicken wings. This one says, "What Mariah Carey looks like now is shocking. Help! Help! See, now this one to me seems like it came from someone working at Tumblr who's being held hostage by an alien. I picture the alien like holding the guy at gunpoint being like, "Now I was caught on camera, but you have to convince the world that it wasn't me." And then the guy's just like, "Well, how do you want me to do that?" And he's like, "I don't know, just say it was someone else." And he's like, "Alright, I guess I'll just say it was Mariah Carey." So what do you guys think the story behind this advertisement is? Maybe Mariah posted it herself, you know? So when people see her in real life, they could be like, "Wow, Mariah, I mean, you look great. I gotta say, I saw a photo of you online, and not to be rude, but you kind of look like a gremlin and a raisin combined." And then she could just be like, "Oh no, I'm still as radiant as ever." This next advertisement is for a bombshell burial plan. And I just want to say, if anyone's boobs actually stick out like that while you're lying down, like, are you okay? Also, I just can't imagine being in a funeral and seeing this coffin. I mean, I wouldn't be able to take it seriously. It really just becomes the main focus. You know, it really just catches the eye. I feel like it would be on everyone's minds. We'll miss her dearly. The double D's, the deeds, I'm sorry, that she did for the community. I mean, she was just the best. She was the best person. I'm sorry, she was always there for me when I was in a pickle. This is an advertisement for the Game of Sultans, which reads, "Your concubine gave birth to an ugly baby, but you are handsome. It may be her, ... and then it is a mystery as to what it says after that." I love the facial expression of the mom, particularly in this photo, because she's really like, "Yikes, this baby is ugly." But then the dad also, you know, he just has a big button by his head that says dislike. I also like how the title of this game is like, Game of Sultans. You know, it makes it sound like we're gonna be at battle or handling something really intense. However, the issue at hand is that our newborn child has a unibrow. There's also a caption of the king saying, "The newborn son is too ugly. What should I do?" And it's like, God, stop being so dramatic. You know, just trade a loaf of bread for tweezers or something. It's really not that hard. So I don't know about you guys, but I've really had enough of that for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was okay, I guess. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And if you want to, you can comment other things that you want me to talk about or react to, or, you know, whatever, things of that sort. All that jazz. Okay, that's enough of that. Until next time, see you guys later. Bye.